Big Boar Barbecue presents Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV with Dan the Voice Dykman, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Riker. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem, in La Crosse on 3rd Street downtown and George and Gillette Street. Big Boar Barbecue, now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist, serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning.
Welcome in, race fans. Seven Rivers Racing, KQEG TV, back again after another blistering weekend of racing at La Crosse and Tomah. Was going to catch the Coulee Go-Kart Raceway again, but they got rained out Sunday. I was going to make it 2 weekends in a row. Bummer. And they don't have a snack shack opener this year either, which was kind of a bummer as well.
If they see you coming, I'd close it too.
Hey, those kids used to sling some pretty good brats down there. Talking about go-karting, we're going to have a go-karter on the program today. She's a point leader in one of her divisions that we've had on probably three times. Yeah, she's like a regular to the program now. So that's where we kick Penguin out of here, and we bring in beauty and poise and trophies to replace.
And we bring our guest in too, because I'm still here.
Yeah. That goes to what we were saying before the program started. Show sponsors include Big Boar Barbecue. Yes, you need to be checking them out on Facebook because they are doing some curbside stuff. They are doing some different ordering things that you can go after as well, since they're not doing the dining room thing. So check them out on Facebook.
Once again, voted
all the time.
Yeah, once again voted #1 caterer in La Crosse County. Also, so if you need something catered, get a hold of them. Also, we got to thank Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. If your air conditioner ain't working, you haven't called Carey Heating and Air Conditioning yet. Get on that right now and get that bad boy fixed. Fansarena.com and Jay's right here. Yep,
see, I was actually on camera to do it this time.
Attaboy. J&L Collectibles and NorthstarCustoms.com. Great partners here for 2020. Thank you all for joining us in this journey.
Start the segment off one like we normally do with highlights from the La Crosse Speedway and the Tomah Sparta Speedway. We're going to start rolling the last couple of laps of the late model feature. By the time we started this last couple of laps, Michael Hagar was already out of the picture, though. 3 heat race wins and a pole, and that guy's really coming out of La Crosse this year. Nick Clements, about halfway through, about lap 11, had passed Hagar for the race lead, only to see another Nick chase him down and then play tail grab for the rest of the race. That would have been Nick Murgic. Right behind them, though, we always talk about the racing that happens outside of first and second place. How about that race between Billy Moan and Jacob Gady?
Oh, that was amazing. And then you had Steve Carlson waiting for one of them to slip up right there in 5th place, and Brent Kirshner joined that group the last 5 laps. But it just a phenomenal race. Gady had several shots at Moan on the inside. Moan was able to drive away from him. You mentioned Michael Hagar. I mean, it's somebody who had never been to the track before at the beginning of the season. Rips off 3 heat race wins and still trying to get things figured out. Couple of starts up front, very impressive. I could see a top 5 out of this guy here in the next couple of weeks.
Back up front, closing laps of the La Crosse feature. Clemens just could not overtake Nick Murgic, who said they had a really good race car and continued to have a great season. And he wanted to thank his crew. Of course, Nick Murgic has extended his point lead now over Jacob Gady and Steve Carlson and Steve Bachman. Sportsman got a little bit thicker this week.
Yeah, we had a pretty good fast field of 8 cars. Rick Coppernall in his modified would get past Jesse Green right around lap 6 and set sail. But from the back row, here comes Jack Lipsheim. And Jack put on a great show. He tried high, he tried low. And Coppernall, I think he was driving more with the mirror than he was with the front windshield. And he matched Lipsheim move for move. Coppernall comes away with his first weekly La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway win.
Only one black flag was issued for the breakout rule during the entire feature, and that driver corrected themselves. Nobody DQ'd this week. Remember last week, I think 3 or 4 got DQ'd.
Three of them got DQ'd for sure last week.
The breakout rule. Talking about DQs, a lot of them handed out in the hobby stocks last week, but not the same case this week, Paul.
No. Alex Rude took the lead, held the lead for quite a while, but coming from the back of the field came Caleb Hardy. And he got by Rude at 5 laps ago, and as you see in the last couple laps here, he kept him in the rear view and scored the victory in the hobby stock feature.
Looking at the Hornets, no matter how you look at this, from the very beginning of the night, it was about Cheyenne Stansfield. And at the end of the night, it was still somewhat of Cheyenne Stanfield because the feature winner was in her backup car. So it's like bookends when you talk about Cheyenne and her in point lead. at La Crosse. Jordan Young got into Cheyenne Stanfield's backup car this past weekend. He gets past Rob Stanfield, held up Jimmy Bjorkman, scored his first feature win in his first appearance back at the Speedway in 3 years. And as the night started, Cheyenne Stanfield in her regular car sets the track record. So that is one of the only females to be in the La Crosse Speedway record books ever.
Yep, with a track record, which is very impressive. And you look at Jordan Young in the backup car. How many times do you see a backup car go out and just walk away with a feature? Jimmy Bjorkman tried, just couldn't get to him. So it's congratulations to Jordan on a great race.
And Jordan came up in the tower and told Bill and I over beers afterwards he didn't want to win the race. He just wanted to beat her track record in her old car.
Yeah, and I think he got close, didn't he?
She had a 111. He had like a 116.
Yeah, he had a 116. Second place at time with a backup car.
High schoolers getting it done on the action track.
Oh, definitely. We got four of them that could win at any given night. Mitchell Berg would get out to a lead, and Braden Lockington would get around him at the halfway point. Berg would have nothing to do with it. Pull a crossover move halfway through it. He'd run away to cap off a great weekend for him. I believe 2 nights in a row that he won. So congratulations to Mitchell Berg working on winning that state championship in that high school association.
Of course, it wasn't the second over the line. This was the first time I've ever seen a third over the line. An interesting finish.
Yes, it was.
This was a cool
Yeah, it was an
finish.
interesting finish. Rob Stanfield, John Hedner got out to a big lead. You kind of wondered, what the heck are they doing? What's going on here? But then they slowed way down when they took the white flag. Allowed the field to catch up, and even bigger chaos in the third over line in race here. And somehow Matthew Miller ended up being the first driver coming across the line in third, and ended up claiming a surprising victory there.
First ever victory lane visit for Matt Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the first time in as long as I've announced at La Crosse, we had a 5 wide.
That was,
Jeez,
I mean, you just watched it right now, and you can watch the replay. There's still, if you're out watching Thursday night, the replay is still coming, but wow, what an impressive finish to this one.
You know, at La Crosse, you can't force a 3 wide unless you're on the outside. Same rule as Tomah. Where in the rule books does it say anything about 4 and 5 wide racing? Because that 5 wide racing, they didn't touch.
But it's a novelty event. There ain't too many rules like passing on. They don't adhere to them when it comes to this.
Well, who says we can't have a Hornet race where they go 5 wide?
It was awesome, wasn't it?
I want to see it in a race.
You want to see it in a 15-lapper, don't
Yes,
you?
I do.
Never happened. Never happened.
When we come back, we're going to switch this stack with this stack, and we're going to take it to Tomah Sparta Speedway. Lots going on there as well. Also, Tim Meyer Memorial is coming up on a Friday night. Mid-American Stock Car Series will be out there next year. Every date they have for the rest of the year is fully loaded, and August 28th, inaugural Hobby Stock.
The Hobby Fest.
Palooza?
Hobby Fest.
Should have been Palooza. That'd have been better. We'll be right back with more here on KQEG TV.
You don't have to fly to Kansas City to get great barbecue.
La Crosse has spoken. Hi, Jerry here, and once again you voted us the best barbecue and caterer. This year you added ribs. I'm truly humbled by this honor. If you haven't tried our barbecue, I invite you to stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Find out why La Crosse County consistently votes us #1. Ribs, pulled pork, brisket, and chicken, and so much more. We also cater groups large and small. Big Bore Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Welcome back, race fans. Seven Rose Racing, KQEG TV. Got a guest coming in on the next segment. But first off, another huge night at the Tomah Sparta Speedway last week, Paul. And as I had thrown on Facebook, We've now had over 28 new drivers register and race over the past 3 nights at Tomah.
That is very impressive to see all sorts of newcomers, not just local guys, but guys from other tracks coming in. It's been quite a season at Tomah.
We've had Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, and Wisconsin, and one from Michigan. Remember?
Yes, Pete Doxey.
Yes,
from
Pete
the
Doxey.
Midwest Dash a couple weeks ago.
Morning feature. We always like first-time winners as well. And we had one. She came close the week before, but got spun. And kind of like the Amelia Marshall thing last, or the Meyer, Jazzy Meyer.
Jazzy Meyer, yeah.
3 times last year, and a chance to win races and got spun or something happened. It wasn't going to happen this weekend as Amelia Marshall, last year's Rookie of the Year, started to lead this thing right off Jump Street. But as you're going to see in the last couple of laps, Paul Finch, Brian Wallace, Scott Malin, they started all bunching up right behind her. And 3 to go. Jellybean's dad, Paul Finch, who's going to be guesting the radio show this week, gets in behind second, forces Amelia Marshall to run the outside because you had 2 femmes running to win this race. And at Tomah, it's not the easiest thing to do is to win a race, having to go from the outside with a daughter and dad presence right there. And after a DNF last week, how about Jellybean Finch picking up her first ever feature race win?
She got to ring the bell.
She did.
Wait, was the bell fixed?
Yeah, it's still slants.
Yeah.
It's not good. It needs some concrete work.
Yes. Yes.
Another big night for the modifieds last week, and my buddy, I just want to scream it, but we're in a TV set here. We don't want to wake the neighbors. The freight train was back.
Yes, the talk was Brent Freight Train King with that modified car. He looked good. Darren Salo, though, got the lead right off the bat. Kane tried to keep up with Salo, but then he would have to, Kane would have to contend with Nick Quinnell for several laps, and Quinnell did everything he could to try to get by the freight train, but he held on to second, but Salo checked out and claimed his 3rd win of the season.
114 feature wins for Brent the Freight Train Kane, and this was his first ever night running a modified, and he did it at Tomah. That was cool.
Yeah, that's. I saw some of the video. That car looks pretty impressive. It looks like he may be at La Crosse this week also.
Talk about first-timers. We had a grocery getter from Rockford at the Tomah Sparta Speedway.
That's right. Rockford regular Cody Houseworth making his first appearance at Tomah and making the best of it. He will break to the lead here at the beginning of the feature. Former track champ, last year's track champ, David Borntrager and Jake Schiller in tow would break free of the pack. Chasing down Schiller would be the first one to get around Houseworth. As he gets by him, Houseworth gets loose. That'll let Schiller and Chalet, or Borntrager and Chalet, get past him, but couldn't catch Schiller. He was too far out. Borntrager and Chalet will round out the top 3. Borntrager rings the bell in victory lane.
Hobby Stocks, we had a huge crowd of Hobby Stocks. It looked like it was Elko versus Tomah on Friday night. Newcomer Ben Gannon, who I found out. Now, you've seen the number 41, Bill.
Yes.
That Gannon runs.
Yep.
Found out Friday night that is the former Freight Train 99.
Oh, no.
Always wondered where that car went. They have teamed up with Brent the Freight Train Kane. Ben Gannon brought that down again quickly, caught up to the Lockingtons, quickly took the race lead. But on a late race restart, we've seen the 4D of Brandon Reedner do this before, once before at the racetrack.
Yeah, about a month ago, yep.
He came on strong. He took Andy Moore with him. In the end, Reedner a little bit too much horsepower as he pulls Andy Moore across the line. And he takes his 2nd win of the year. Not bad for a guy that's only been at Tomah twice.
Twice, yeah. Pretty impressive.
6 shooters, 21 of them in the feature.
And this one was quite an interesting one. Tristan Drazkowski, Draz Jr., somehow was making an outside groove. He was like Steve Carlson at Tomah.
Like Jake Chalmers. What is your Jake Chalmers joke? Running the outside?
Oh, yeah, well, he goes 3 wide. It's, I told Jimmy Bjorkman it's the Jake Chalmers groove.
Well, that's where Draz was. He was in the Jake Chalmers groove at Tomah.
And after a yell on lap 9, Tristan stayed on the outside and powered his way around Tim Murphy Sr. to take the lead. Dan Fry got up to second with 3 laps to go, but Draz Jr. checked out on Fry and ended up claiming a big win. And I mean, remember earlier in the season last year he looked good, but until that accident happened, and maybe he's going to have a late season run here.
Turn 2. Well, he also got that feature win on his dad's birthday, so they had a big celebration going on in the wee hours of the morning right there. Another one for the High School Racing Association. This had to have been probably the oddest finish to any race I have ever called in 33 years.
And this one got some mix it up here. It's a little more fender rubbing and bumper rubbing than you're used to here. Dawson Richmond had some demons in the heat race, got them all fixed. He would break out to the lead here. And then Mitchell Berg runs him down, and them two tangle. And Berg ends up going to the back, hands the lead over to Toon Kinsey. And then we go at it here. Berg would come back around and try and get the lead. He tangles with Kinsey, and in the process takes Richmond and Joey Miller with him. Here on the last lap in the last corner, Berg breaks out. He ends up winning it. He gets to ring the bell. It's the start of a good weekend for Berg, but wow, look at the chaos here on the last lap.
You know, two things there. Number one, if you watch that replay again, DeLapp Jr., that was his first ever race. He was a rookie in the high school class. He crosses the line, and had he kept his foot into it all the way around, there was nobody to even rub fenders with. So if he goes around once, he's going to win this thing. Because it took them so long to get out of turn number 4. But I'm figuring we're going to get a Talladega Nights thing here, and I was even mentioning it. Get out and run across the finish line, because we'd have had 4 track stars representing 4 different high schools trying to win this thing. It was as easy that whoever get it out of reverse and into drive first is going to win this.
It was amazing.
At the same time, you had 4 cars moving, so you rewind that one back and watch that again. But that was cool.
Yes, definitely. If you got DVR this show just for that segment right there.
And you know, we mentioned it when I announced at Tomah and at La Crosse. Several of these high school racing association drivers are driving like they've been doing this for 2 or 3 years already.
Yeah.
You know, as I did my segment on a local radio show last week, and I made it the equivalent of a 16-year-old trying to impress his prom date, because these guys do not drive like they're, 16-year-old, never been in a race car before.
Mitch Berg won twice in a row last week, 14 years old.
Yeah, Toon Kinsey, Dawson Richmond, they all look like they got a little bit of experience in these 6-cylinder cars. So the future is looking pretty bright if this is how good these guys are this young.
Well, we got a guest coming in the studio next, and we're going to pose that question to her. She's been running go-karts for quite a while. What does it look like for the future to maybe be in that high school racing association at the Crosse Speedway? We're going to find out when we bring in my little buddy, Mattie Gilbertson. That's coming up next on KQEG TV.
You don't have to fly to Kansas City to get great barbecue.
Well, you've done it again. Hi, Jerry here. You voted us the #1 barbecue and caterer for the 5th year in a row. This year you added ribs. Now, if you haven't tried our barbecue, let me personally invite you to try the best ribs, pulled pork, brisket, chicken, and so much more. Visit us on Highway 16 West Salem. Dine in or outside at one of our picnic tables. Drive-through and carry-out is always available. Big Bore Barbecue, a delicious mouthful.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Welcome back, race fans. KQEG TV, 7 Rivers Racing. Of course, we cover everything in the immediate area. We cover La Crosse, we cover Tomah. When Penguin and I are on the road, we try to cover a lot of racetracks. Matter of fact, I'll be at the Dixieland 250 coming up next week, and going to be doing some TV time with Bubba Pollard, going to be doing some TV time with Kyle Busch, and maybe Ty Majeski. Ty is unsure whether he's going to be going to Dixieland on Tuesday or not, depending upon where he's going to be traveling as he's testing for Ford still. But going to have a lot of good TV coverage next week. And we always like to take care of folks like this right in our backyard, the Coulee Go-Kart Raceway. I remember Mattie, goodness gracious, when she was about day high when I was announcing many, many years ago at the Tomah Sparta Speedway. Ago. Was it 10 years ago?
I started 10 years ago.
Well, there goes a couple more grays.
She's a lot more talkative now than she was 2 years ago.
Wow, I tell you what. And she just became a buddy of mine. She come up, stand up there when I'm announcing. She never bothered me. She could see a better view up there, and became friends with the family. And of course, they work a lot with Nick Clements. So, and Mattie's back for her third time of the show. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
You know, one thing that I've always been impressed with at the Coulee Go-Kart Raceway is you see a lot of people who used to race there now racing on the big track. Something we're eyeing here in the future?
Yeah, we are planning on for sure being in the high school division next year, and we're hoping to get out this year, and then from there we'll just see where it goes.
Got to take it step by step.
Yep.
Right now she's trying to eye, as you can see the trophies here, got a championship on this one, and she's eyeing another championship this year. She's the point leader.
I'm going to take this one home with me. This one's cool.
And she'll wrestle you for that.
Yeah.
She's the point leader in the Junior 2 Sportsman at the Coulee Go-Kart Raceway, and it's not going to be a cakewalk. You've got some competition left here to go before the end of the year.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun this year because last year was a little bit different. This year it's been extremely close, so it's been a lot of fun.
Now, if you take the Junior 2 championship, do you come back next year and, because I forget how this works when you run the different classes, will you go into the upper division next year, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'll turn 16 next month, so I'll be in the adult.
See, if you've ever watched, Bill, the way that they have it structured from the rookie class, the kid karts, then into the rookie class, they don't run points for several of those, which I don't think that they should because that's experience. But each year, they don't want you just jumping from the kid karts into a flathead. That ain't going to happen. And the way that they have it structured age-wise, which I really think is comfortable for someone like you, is it steadily moves up with your age.
Yeah. So when I could race adult this year, but we are planning on staying in Junior 2. So then next year I will race adult.
Cool.
So, how did you get started in all this? I mean, you're only 16 years old, and you're like a 10-year veteran already. How did you get into this?
My cousin used to race, so I got into racing from him racing.
Who's your cousin?
Todd Gilbertson.
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, he doesn't race anymore, but I'm planning on continuing
So
racing.
what did he, you were a little Mattie right here, like I want to race that?
Todd Gilbertson used to be about this tall when I was announcing in the Coulee Go-Kart Raceway. And over about 3 summers, man, that kid shot up like there was no tomorrow, to the point where I went to MTS and announced dirt and came back and announced some races that 6th year later. I didn't even recognize him when he came up to the tower.
Well, my guess is in 10 years, she was only a little sprout right here when she didn't look at her now.
She still looks a lot like she did when she was a young one. Gilbertson grew up, and I was like, kid, what are you doing in my announcing area? Then I realized who it was. You had probably one of the worst wrecks that I have seen. The last year I announced full at Coulee Go-Kart Raceway, Christine Booth shot over the turn 1 hay bale area at full throttle and launched into the fence. I'm calling that one. She's got a GoPro. Was it on your helmet or your cart?
On my cart.
As she's barrel rolling into turn 4. Talk about that, because even though I knew what the end result was, you scared me 2 days later watching that.
So it was at the green flag. We had a restart, and I was going, and I got too high, which has never happened before, and I hit the plastic. And then I was kind of on the side of it. Then I got hooked up into the hay bales, and I flipped twice in the air, and then landed upside down. And luckily, I was pretty much already out of the cart, except my leg was stuck. But I wanted to go back out because of the rules. I wasn't allowed to. And the only thing wrong with my car was a bent steering wheel and the bumper.
So let's see, on the bucket list, you can write flipped over. Check that one off.
Flipped over.
Yeah.
There's one thing I never did.
I've known her for a long time, and she is one strong kid, and she was crying about halfway through there. But it wasn't because she was in pain. She wanted to go back.
She wanted to go back out. Yeah, that's
what is
that
she?
a girl.
I had to rewind it 2 or 3 times. She wanted to go back out there and race, but of course they wanted to make sure you were fine. And
yeah. Well, after the race, I heard Mary told me that she got photos, and I was more excited about the photos of me flipping and the bruises that I had. I'm like, yes, I have cool bruises and cool photos.
We do that to Paul the Penguin every now and then. We have a bad show. We give him cool bruises here on the set.
Yeah, don't let him roll up his sleeves.
You know, we've had a lot of drivers that have done that in the past, and they get it in the back of their. And we just talked about this last week with one of our drivers at La Crosse. You've been back out several races since that wreck. Do you think about that as you're coming around the corner, or is it pretty much just gone?
It's gone. I don't worry about it. We made sure that I went out and practiced after the wreck, and nothing was affected by it because I knew I was perfectly fine, and I knew in racing eventually it was going to happen.
You know, it's
she's talking like she's 20.
Yeah, she's talking like a well-seasoned veteran. 10 years in go-karts, she's seen just about everything. And, you know, she's right about one thing. You got to get past something like that, like the time I rolled the wall or the time I got the ambulance ride from the shot in between 3 and 4. It's something you look at, but you got to get past it, or you can never pretty much race again. And she's doing a great job.
I know you got some great sponsors as we're running out of time here on the segment. Also, join us this weekend, Saturday at noon on Bog Country 101.3 and 1460, as Mattie's going to be on the radio show as well. Who you got helping you out, kiddo?
So I have Features of Homan, Barachos, Ultra, Pizza Corral, Clements Automotive, Doggy Zenenden, and Luke's Auto Repair, and Johnny Hobbies, and Vinyl Express, care of La Crosse and Tomah.
That's what she's reading off of right now.
Always got a nice looking race car. Did you mention thanks to your dad?
Oh yeah, and thanks to my dad and my grandpa for.
And that guy back there, yeah.
I like the shirts too.
Yeah, on the back it says you just got passed by a girl.
Show us that real quick.
Says
you just got passed by a girl.
Nice.
That's nice. Mattie Gilbertson, I'll tell you what, folks. It's a great, because you guys race Sundays from here on out, right?
Yes, we have 4 more.
It's a great time, 1 o'clock, Sunday afternoons, Coulee Go-Kart Raceway. The temperature's always good. Bring yourself a beverage, get yourself a hamburger, something like that.
4 o'clock.
Oh yeah, 4 o'clock now. And CooleyGoKartRaceway.com, you can find the points on there, the pictures, the schedule, the whole shebang. Good luck in your chase for the Junior 2 Championship this year. And I can't wait till you get to my playground so I can announce Mattie there.
And like we said earlier, you go check this stuff out, because this is where the future stars of La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway have been coming from. Just ask Matt Henderson or Sam Niles. 2 top go-kart racers transferred onto the big track.
Brad Worthen. Steve Bachman.
Yep.
Mike Carlson. I mean, the names just go on and on and on. They're all running, well, besides Brad, NASCAR late models right now. Mattie's a good kid, and she's going to sign some autographs for us, and she loves to do the same thing down in the pits, so make sure you stop by.
Last night, we have the very last race, we have fan photo.
Ooh, nice. That's the one you got to get out to.
There you go. You can get one of these.
We'll have upgraded ones.
Right on the racetrack, too. And, of course, I think Mary Schill's doing these, right?
Yep.
That's right. All right, folks, we're out of time with the program. Go and support Mattie and all the other go-karters. Whether they're 4 years old or whether they're 20, they do a fantastic job of entertaining at the Coulee Go-Kart Raceway. For Bill and Paul, myself, and Mattie, I'm Dan. We'll see you next week right here on KQEG TV.
You've been watching 7 Rivers Racing on KQEG TV with Dan the Voice Diker, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Riker. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem, in La Crosse on 3rd Street downtown and George and Gillette Street. Big Boar Barbecue, now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist, serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. Thanks for watching 7 Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.
You don't have to fly to Kansas City to get great barbecue.
La Crosse has spoken. Hi, Jerry here, and once again you voted us the best barbecue and caterer. This year you added ribs. I'm truly humbled by this honor. If you haven't tried our barbecue, I invite you to stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Find out why La Crosse County consistently votes us #1. Ribs, pulled pork, brisket, and chicken, and so much more. We also cater groups large and small. Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem.